War Rapport family, I'm your host, Caesar Walker, and as usual, I got Mike G, B Will, Ike Jones. Guys, we got a great show lined up for you, man. We're going to be talking about spring practice. We're actually going to be talking about some updates as far as recruiting goes and the transfer portal. Also, what everyone's talking about, Gus is going to UCF, and he has a new defensive coordinator. Got a great show lined up for you guys. And if you're ready, because I'm ready, let's enter this war room. War Eagle, and welcome to the War Room. I hope you guys are having a good week so far. Happy Hump Day, gentlemen. How we feeling?
Yeah,
we good.
We here. We here. You know, we here.
We in here.
Listen, guys, thanks again for tuning in. Do us a favor. Smash that like button for us. Please do us a quick solid. And, man, don't enter the War Room without speaking. Drop a comment, man. Drop us a War Eagle. Let us know where you're streaming this from.
It is kind of rude to come in the house and not
say
what's up. You know what
Speak up. Let us know that you're here. So, guys, we got a lot to get to. Spring practice has been announced. It's supposed to start March the 16th. And we got a nice little video that kind of hit Twitter and was released by Auburn football. These guys getting up at it early in the morning, man. I'm pretty sure we all saw the video. Many of you guys may have saw the video of the guys working out. Harsin actually in the weight room with these kids early in the morning.
Yeah,
I loved seeing it, man. It was nice. I don't know if we've ever seen that before from the previous coaching staff. So it was pretty. It was.
He ain't seen a weight room since 1983.
I mean, Gus wasn't like really like out of shape, but he wasn't in shape either. You know what I'm saying? Like,
shout out to
Burner account back with another super chat.
Love offering. Appreciate it.
So listen, this video. Let's just talk about this video for a second. This video had me hyped.
I ain't gonna lie, it had me hyped too.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop the link to that right now in the chat in case you haven't seen it. It is your boy Harsin getting jiggy with it at 5 a.m. in the morning with his guys and lifting for real too.
Yeah.
Like lifting for real.
If you're watching this back later though, we got it in the description of the video down below. Yeah.
Oh my goodness, man. I mean, when have we? I mean, this is real symbolic of a new era at Auburn, right? A new attitude. Like I've been on record as saying I felt like these boys were soft, right? Like I thought they were soft before. Yeah, right. Just a brick wall to run through, or a car to flip over.
Absolutely.
I wanted to go Gerard Butler 300 on these mofos this morning after watching this video, right? Like so, it was great to see that there's going to be a new attitude down on the plains. Right, there's going to be a new attitude. There's going to be the Harsin vision, right? And it's just time to turn the page, changing of the guard. We're all ready to see something new, see some consistency. It starts in the weight room with strength and conditioning, and I'm glad that he believes in it. I don't know if I ever heard Gus talk about strength and conditioning one time in 8 years.
Get your drink.
I don't know if he ever did.
I mean, if he mentioned it in any kind of meaning, I don't know if
he ever did.
Right?
I mean, insert JG Tate impersonation right here. I don't know. I don't recall him ever mentioning that. So
right.
I imagine Gus getting up in the morning and getting up under a weight bar he got in his house, and on each end, instead of a 45 or 2, it was a clipboard on each end.
Right.
Pumped the bar with a clipboard. And maybe it was like a steel clipboard, but it was a clipboard with plays already on it on the bar. And that's what he was lifting. That's why he clutches so tight during the game. It's just wait, it's a clipboard.
I mean, this is weird, but like I just imagine Gus was the type of guy that like just wears nothing but his visor while making love. Like
yeah. So
man, all right.
So spring practice is supposed to start next month, and
what is you doing?
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how these guys are going to look in spring practice.
Man.
Now I don't care whose show it is. We ain't talking about that on the Unfamily show. I don't know nothing about that. Listen.
He was weird.
No, that comment was weird.
Yeah, you was weird for that. Take that to Orlando, buddy.
Clipboard press champ, Gus. Oh, that's funny.
Oh man, yeah. This
Bars with waffles on the side.
I'm telling you. Listen, Harsin is bringing.
Y'all already started.
Hey, I see Felix Gonzalez in the house. Shout out to Felix, brand new member of the War Rapport. We appreciate you. Hope that hoodie fits, Felix.
So, unless you change your name, Gene Williamson is a member, but I haven't seen him chat a lot. Gene, what's up? Unless I missed you, I'm sorry, Gene. I apologize.
He's usually in the chats after.
Burner account, man. We appreciate it.
Burner account doubling up. You know what I'm saying? Listen, hey, I ain't mad at that. Look, man, hey, burn it.
Burn away. Right. So yeah, I do feel good. The Auburn social media game is on point in the Harsin era.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
Right.
It wasn't bad before. It wasn't.
No, this is next level.
I think it's not that it's necessarily better. I just think the focus is different and the energy feels different, right? Like what you were seeing from kids before in the previous administration was them, like they were running drills and they were running through plays, and it's like, oh, you see them, taking hard cut, but like you seeing dudes in the gym, putting weight together, you know what I'm saying? You seeing them run, like you feel like, man, these dudes really finna be out here beasting on people this year, dog. Right. Like, and I know it's crazy to say that they're stronger already. They've been working out like 2 weeks, you know what I'm saying? But like at the same time, the energy, I don't know if that's beautiful editing or if it's really like you can feel an electricity in that room. It just feels different, man, watching that video from previous years. Chad, appreciate you, man.
Now, welcome, Chad. I don't know if it's okay. So before the guys were in there, like we've seen workout vids from the actual Auburn football account, but the difference was it didn't start.
We do, JD, with
the guy in charge in there lifting the weight. Like that's an example. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the difference right there that I feel like was missing. The guy at the top is setting the tone for everybody at the bottom.
Yeah, that's way different though. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how early Gus got to the facility, but he definitely didn't hit the weight room when he first got there.
Hey, listen, man. If you're talking about excellent leadership, right? Talking about a guy who practices what he preaches, right? Oh, listen. I hopefully the merch is making it to everybody here. There was some weather over the last few days, so I know some things got slowed down. Felix, I hope you got your hoodie. We're watching you guys who are ordering stuff and representing us. We really appreciate that.
Send us them pictures on social media. Add us and let us see the stuff, man.
Yes, add us, please.
Definitely.
But talk about practicing what you preach. Yeah. Right. Like, I mean, getting in there with your guys and like, I can't imagine if I was a player and my coach came in for real. And hit the weights with us, he
was doing drills too. Like he was on the ropes. Like he was out there actually working out with them, bro. Like that's
different. 29 days. He said 29 days till spring practice start. Let's go, right? So, we have a start date for spring practices. Middle of March, I think.
March 16th.
And so it's good. It's going to be really, really exciting to see what he can do with these guys. They'll cut it off. They'll cut it a little bit before practice so they can get ready for a practice schedule, right? So you move from weights to kind of a practice schedule, and then they'll go back to weights after for summer workouts all the way up until fall camp. So they still have a significant amount of time to put some serious mass on.
Y'all out of control.
If I don't ever see another dance, I'll be good, right? Like so. I think this is as excited as I've been since Harsin actually got hired. I really do.
Yeah.
I think it's been excited I've been since he's got hired. I think they're on the right track. They seem to be selling the right things, and the kids who stayed are buying it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kids who stayed are buying it. So, just my feeling, but new sheriff in town.
Yeah, man. And again, something that he said, in the video, you can see him talking about championships, and you can see him drilling that into the kids. And he's saying everything we do matters. So you see the intentionality with this coaching staff and the fact that everything they do has an agenda. It has an end game and an end goal.
Well, right. He said, if we're going to play for championships, everything we do matters.
Love it.
That is a line for your ass right there.
Yeah,
if we're gonna play for championships, everything we do matters.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad that's the attitude that he has. I'm very impressed now. Like, I gotta say, if we weren't gonna go get a big name, and this was the guy, so far I'm sold.
Yeah.
Right.
So far, even if he wins 8 games in year 1, I will be satisfied. If that's all he's delivering year 1.
I've been harping on it, man, but it's mentality, right? Like, you just the mentality that you bring to the position, it has to match the energy that you want people to have on the field. And there's a level of intensity that you just don't see from certain coaches, right? Like, I imagine, some of the better coaches, like a Ryan Day. Like, I feel like Ryan Day is like that up at Ohio State. He feels like a really intense guy that demands some very high energy, high performance things from the kids that come to Ohio State. Nick Saban's not like an energetic guy, but he's intense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you can feel the intensity of, like, Nick Saban has this confident arrogance, the quiet arrogance, what I really want to say about him, that permeates throughout his team. Like, we gonna win, and what? Like, that's what we're supposed to do that. Like, we're not.
Right.
I'm expecting to win every game. I'm not shocked at success.
Right.
Brian Harsin has inherited a team or a program that I think needed a personality to say, look, it ain't going to be the same.
Right.
And we have to be better than this. If you're not willing to be better than this, you can't play for me. Right. And he had to change the mentality of what people were doing about details and the little things that make a difference when it gets to game day. And I love every bit of the energy I see coming from him, man.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like, listen, if that's not what's going on, they're doing a great job selling it.
I don't think I've ever been this excited about February at Auburn. Yeah. Like, that's just it speaks about the energy, man. Usually we don't get excited till midway through March or April with the new coaching staff.
I haven't been this excited about Auburn football since being a student at Auburn. I'll say that. Like, it was a different energy when you were a student down there, especially when we were down there because we were actually good, right? So, like, you felt like, all right, the next season we finna come out here and dominate again. But yeah, I haven't been this optimistic about the program. Now, again, we're gonna dive more into the schedule as we get closer and give some predictions for what we feel like the actual outcome of these games are going to be. But I haven't been this excited about the direction of the program in a while, and I think it's a lot is attributed to It started with him putting together what I think is a quality staff. Yeah, and then just hearing him talk consistently about the demeanor and the type of mentality he wants to bring to the program. Yeah, I'm sold on it, man. I'm sold on it. Again, I don't know how that translates to wins or losses in the first season, but for me, it's more important that the program is in a good direction, and I think we're off to a good start.
So, guys, with spring coming up, starts March 16th. In your opinion, and then what we want to do is we're going to start talking about position groups leading up to spring. We're going to start talking about who we think could be in the playing rotation, make an impact. What are some things that in order for us to be considered a successful spring, what are some things that needs to happen this spring? And I'll start with the usual. I'll knock out 2 of the obvious ones. We don't need significant injuries to key players, right? Mm-hmm. Especially at areas where we already are kind of challenged with depth. Like, Tank needs to stay healthy. Mm-hmm. Guys along our O-line who are projected to start, they need to stay healthy. We've seen what a devastating injury or 2 can do to our O-line, so they need to stay healthy. Yeah. And I think I want to see Bo Nix get pushed. I want him to have the fear of God in him that I have to perform and play in order to be, shout out Terry, I want there to be some solid competition at the quarterback position. I don't necessarily think that Brian Harsin has to name a starter, because something that he said from day one is you can do it right now or you can do it right. And whether it's hiring new members of his staff, he's taking his time to get the right guy. And I think when it comes to quarterback, I think he's going to take a similar approach. And I think he wants to see how these guys carry themselves into summer workouts, into fall camp. And I think he's going to make his decision later on as opposed to the end of spring. So I just want to see some solid quarterback competition. And I want it to be kind of a neck and neck race between Bo and, if it's Demetrius, bring it on. Like I just want to see good competition there. But what about you guys? I'll start with you, B.
What I want to see is I hope we get a middle linebacker identified from the spring. We don't need a QB starter. We need a middle linebacker starter for real. Like we saw how badly that went when we didn't have just a dog in the middle, that linebacker core. And I want that. I want that right now. I'm not so I saw somebody say offensive tackle. I think we are going to go after a transfer or two. So I don't think we work that out till the summer. I don't think the offensive line gets worked out till the summer because we still got some people to bring in. But middle linebacker, I want to know who that is, and I want them to get in the middle because they're gonna have some defensive play calling responsibilities more than likely. And yeah, that's what I want to get identified in the spring.
Yeah. What you got?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the offensive line is going to be the biggest thing for me. If we can solidify what we're going to have up front, I just want to see that unit. You know, I'm going to be honest. I have very high expectations for the offensive line to play better because we have more experience along that group this year than we had last year. Barring some injuries to guys, that unit should be gelling. They played better as the season progressed, and I think that we have a quality offensive line coach, right, that can get us in a good position to make some strides there. I really want to see that offensive line gel and come out of spring with significant improvements over last year. We got to start in a better space on that in that unit. And I think the second thing I want to see is us developing that second level of whatever it is. Like the second unit for Auburn needs to be better. Right. So I want to see us get our preparation to a place where we are more than one deep at key positions. That's quarterback, that's running back, that's whatever it is. Right. Like we can't just be. We can't just be. Have I heard anything about Brandon Council being hurt? I don't know if he ever fully recovered from the injury he had last season. So I don't know.
It's either him or Broham. I think. Either one of those two are not expected to be playing this spring because who had the more serious injury? Was it Council?
Council did, yeah. I think he was.
I don't think he's expected to be back for spring. I think he's on pace to be ready to play by fall, but I don't know about spring. So
yeah. So, but yeah, like I said, the big thing for me is just developing our depth is going to be a huge, how are we going to concentrate on the next man up mentality that has to happen for those other guys so that we are able to be more consistent across the board, even with injuries, is going to be a big thing for me in spring. I don't know what's going to be the indicator of that other than once we get to A-Day, there looks to be something solid across the board on both sides of the ball. But we'll definitely, I want to see that coming out of the spring.
Good comment here. People want to see a pass rush. One of the things that I thought about, I want to leave it up to the fans, but here we got Jonathan. Shout out to Jonathan Harris, part of the family. He wants to see two dogs on the inside because we're gonna in our base defense we're gonna have more linebackers. So he wants to, who's going to step up and assert themselves, basically. Demario also says more flexibility. But yeah, Mike, you got any ideas? How you feeling, man? People, someone commented development. But what do you got?
I just want to see what kind of offensive identity we're going to have. Right? It's just offensive identity. What kind of offensive football team are we going to be under Brian Harsin? A lot has been made of his offense and the many types of sets that he runs. We're going to see a lot more pro style stuff. Are we going to be a run play action team? I feel like that's primarily how we've been successful over the last 8 years is run the ball first, hit them over the top, what is that going to demand of everybody offensively? right? What is it going to demand of the running backs? What is it going to demand of the offensive line and the receivers? And obviously, what is it going to demand of whoever's going to play quarterback, right? So I just want to kind of move on from the discussion. I mean, we're going to talk about it later, but about Bo and like, whatever's happening there, right? Like, I just think, at the end of the day, Harsin has got to figure out. I don't think that he can find an offensive identity until he's established who his quarterback is. Right, that's going to have a lot to do with it. So, I'm just feeling like,
that's a good question right here.
Who steps up? Right, again, offensive identity. Right, like how are we going to incorporate these receivers into the passing game? I saw a question earlier that just talked about what do we expect out of receivers this year? I think just more. How about that? Right. I'm gonna keep it simple. We just expect more.
And I'm eager to see how we utilize the tight ends in the passing game. Right. If we actually do that, because that's something that was not done in the previous coaching staff. Right. So I really want to see, again, I believe the wide receivers will get shine, how they use them in the intermediate routes, but I really want to see us use our tight ends. I want to see Luke Deal. I want to see a few other of those guys actually catch passes, as opposed to just being used as blockers. And we know they're going to block, but we want to see them being utilized in the passing game.
Can we make defenses defend the whole field for a change?
Yeah. Right. Absolutely.
When you talk about tight ends and receivers and all this stuff, it's just, can we just make people defend the whole field? Auburn gets on. You're not just guarding the edge. You're not waiting on the jet sweep. Right. Like you're not. Right.
And
you don't know what we're going to do.
That's what crippled us against the good defenses. Georgia and Alabama and Texas A&M came into those games ready to make sure that those little gadget and edge plays were not going to beat them. Like you were going to,
too much speed. They got too much speed.
Beat them in the middle of the field, and we refused to do that. So it was just like, all right, well, we're just going to keep doing what we normally do, and we just need to block it better. And it's like, at some point in time, you've got to make them be honest, right?
Right.
And I mean, a part of that was because our offensive line wasn't great. A part of that was just because the system didn't allow for it. And then another portion of it is I don't know that the confidence of the team to be able to execute some of those things was there. So there were a lot of issues that we needed to address along the offense that we have to get shored up in the fall. And again, I think a lot of it just starts with, like Mike said, what is going to be, because can someone tell me what our offensive identity was last year? I couldn't tell you. We had some legitimate first go-to guy weapons, and none of those guys seemed like they were the focal point of a game plan.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. There makes no sense that you have a guy who could be a Heisman candidate at running back, and the game plan isn't get that guy the ball in some kind of way, whether it's whether it's running back screens. You got a guy in Seth who is a possession receiver, and you got 3rd down and 6. Why aren't we figuring out a way to scheme to get him open? We've got a guy who's the fastest guy in college football, and we need to be able to take the top off of defenses. How are we not scheming ways to get him the ball down the field more? Like, I just don't understand that. I don't know what the philosophy was going into the game, so it's hard for me to understand what the identity was supposed to be. So hopefully we can establish that early.
Well, we were a one-read offense. We know that. We know that from our interview with.
We had a one-read quarterback. That's the problem.
No, but we knew that from our interview with Chris Todd. He talked about it.
He did, but also we have watched our offense from last year in film, like group us four together, and gone there, and he did none of it. There was never. I think it was
only one read,
reduced to one read because he couldn't do what was available to him on the plays. So they had to simplify it because they were determined to let Bo be the quarterback. That's what it was reduced to. I don't think that's what they would have wanted to do if we had started with a quarterback who could make sound decisions and was fundamentally sound.
No, I disagree. I think it was always that way. That's all system. They ain't got nothing to do with Bo. That's system. That's what the system was teaching us. That's what Chris said.
He did, but Chad Morris was not the offensive coordinator.
I think Chad, again, if you go back to the Kentucky film, and you look early even in the Georgia film, you see they wanted to do some different things offensively. Like if you go to Kentucky, the offense looked complete from game to game. It looked different. The Kentucky film, there was different routes. There were different things that they were attempting to do offensively. I just don't think, number one, the offensive line was blocking well enough for some of those second read passing concepts to even open up. Number two, I don't know that Bo was being patient enough to allow some of that stuff to happen on a consistent basis. So I think that they decided to scale back the offense because they didn't have a full spring to install all of that stuff. They decided to scale it back and go to some of the more simplistic, I hate to call it simplistic, but it's what it is, passing concepts that were under the Gus, that they were already familiar with. So they just went back to more familiar things to make it easier for the offense to go faster, but it just made it more predictable.
Yeah,
I don't think, we're probably going to have similar problems if we have a truncated spring coming up this year with trying to install a new offensive. It's going to have to be a simplistic form of it in order for the team to be able to run things fast, as opposed to they call a play and they're like, I don't remember what we're supposed to do on that play, and people are doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
You're getting into my third one, is that we are able to install our offense and defense, for that matter, because these coordinators want to do different things from the previous coaching staff. So as much as we can get the offense and defense installed, the better, because we don't know what's going to happen with COVID. It could be a shortened spring. We just don't know. So
I appreciate this comment right here. Right. Like, just again, more balance, more of our athletes on the field. Right. Yeah. Sending these recruiting hot, quality tight ends and then sending them out there for 4 years to block.
Yeah.
Right. Or be decoys. Right. Like, so I appreciate that.
Dismiss them too soon.
Yeah. And to that comment, because I know that Felix likes Gus, we don't hate Gus, man. We don't hate him. Right. But I think that anybody can essentially look at that, what we saw yet last year and say there were some opportunities that were missed because we didn't use more of the field. I just hope that Bobo can put something in that gets the balls to playmakers in space and creates playmakers. Guys who may not have gotten shine in the previous system that are now
fact.
Right.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Fiddle was a waste, man. He was good enough to make an NFL roster. He was good enough to.
He should have been a first rounder. He should have been a first rounder when it was all said and done.
Yeah. So, and this is what's going to be interesting for real is, as much flack as we've given Bo over the years here, it is going to be his third offense that he's going to have to learn. So I don't question Bo's football acumen.
Shout out DJ Strick.
What I do question about Bo Nix is his game time composure in the pocket, right? Like I think he understands what's supposed to be happening in the plays on the play. I just think sometimes he gets too jittery back there, and a lot of that is because the offensive line was not blocking well early in the season. So he's just like, listen, I only have like 2.5 seconds in here at most, and I'm out. Right? He's like 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. All right, I'm peace, because somebody's definitely coming free. And
he instinctively has always played that way. He's always played ready to leave the pocket.
That is the whole conversation about fundamentals, and what you do is you're going to revert to what is the most instinctive thing for you. Fight or flight is just a reality of human or of animal species, right? Like something happens, stimuli happens, you're going to either take off running or you're going to fight back against it. Bo's natural instinct, and it sounds like I'm calling him scared, and I'm not, is to take off running because his athleticism has been the way that he's gotten out of situations.
But that's been his strength.
Right.
That's been his strength.
Well, again, if you haven't watched our part 2 of our interview with Chris Todd, I just highly recommend you go watch that. He explains all this very clearly, and he was a quarterback. And, he explains, like, listen, it is not abnormal when a 260-pound man is running at you at 4 or 5 speed to want to get out of there. Right.
Yeah.
To be clear, that flight response is normal. I asked him, I said, how do you, I think it was Caesar asked the question, how do you train a guy to sit in the pocket when that's happening? He said the only way to do it is to rep it, which is why I hope better coaching, right? They're coaching like, listen, man, you got to sit in this pocket. When I watched film of the true freshman that Harsin started in 2019, I saw him
the Florida State game.
Florida State game, stand in the pocket and take some hits and deliver the football. Right? He was a fairly athletic kid. I mean, he wasn't as athletic as Bo, but he got out and made some plays with his feet. And he stood in and took a lot of hits and delivered and tried to deliver the football. Bo's going to have to do that. Or, you know what? Forget Bo. Anybody who's our quarterback is going to have to do that.
Yeah.
Right? Like, whoever's quarterback is going to have to do that. So hopefully, starting with Bo, we start teaching that, and it just starts getting done better. That's where I'm at about it. I think that they just got to start repping the right thing.
This is the whole thing for me with Bo Nix. It's not about his talent level, and I keep screaming this over and over. His arm talent is there. He's got the athleticism. He has the football acumen and IQ to be able to execute. He's just not consistent. He is not consistently able to. It's like, I made the analogy. I don't remember if I made it on the show or for just talking with Mike. It's like, a kid has a 40-foot vertical leap, right? Like, he's capable of bouncing to 40 feet, right? However, when it's time to call upon that ability, he's only hitting 20 consistently, right? Every now and then, it's like my daggone internet signal here. I pay for this high-speed internet. It don't hit all the internet speeds it's supposed to on a consistent basis. Why am I paying for all of this internet, but I'm not getting it? It's time. Listen, if I'm not going to get the internet I paid for, I need to change internet providers. Plain and simple. And I'm not saying Bo Nix is incapable. I'm saying I need to see it consistently before I say he's my guy. Right?
Okay.
Right. And right now, I'm shopping internet providers, and apparently Auburn shopping internet providers too. We're gonna get into that in just a second.
I'm gonna go back to a comment, right? Because I've been reading this and I just want to address it, right? This whole thing. There is absolutely zero comparison between Jason Campbell and Bo Nix.
Well, not zero. It's
none.
What you're trying to compare the two, it's not an equal comparison. Like, yes, they've changed coordinators consistent. No, there is a comparison. They've changed coordinators consistently every year.
There he is,
and they're quarterbacks for Auburn. There are 2 points of comparison.
And they have not reached their ceiling.
Right. So there are points of comparison. The thing is,
there's a lot of more nuance to it.
Right. What contributes to it is completely different. And that's where people are missing that.
Okay, so let me put it this way. Jason had worse coordinator problems than Bo has.
Yes,
he did. Facts. Yes. He had worse coordinator problems than Bo has. Right. Bo has more. I struggle to say this, but he has more competent.
Yes, that was funny.
Right. He has more competent coaching on offense than Jason had. Right. What clicked for Jason was about speed of the game.
Yes.
Right. What clicked for Jason was about speed of the game. He never had issues setting his feet and squaring his shoulders and deliver. He never had mechanical issues that Bo has. Right. So he didn't have a lifetime of bad habits to unlearn.
Yeah.
So again, to me, there's just no comparison between the two and what their actual issues are. Right. That's all I'm saying. I'm sick of hearing the Jason, and I'm not trying to knock what Sean is saying. I'm just saying, like, listen, I filmed every single one of Jason Campbell's college practices, and I'm telling you, he had no mechanical issues, none. He always threw a good ball. Borges taught him how to read defenses, and the game slowed down for him in his fourth year. If that's what we were talking about, I would be super high on Bo. I would. I would be sitting here waiting for that thing to click. That's what I was expecting from year 1 to year 2. It didn't happen. It didn't happen because when you go back and you look at the tape, I'm going to say this. I'm going to keep saying it until people understand it. Right. What Bo has is primarily are accuracy issues.
Right.
He is not an accurate thrower of the football.
And it's because his fundamentals are inconsistent. That's 100% why.
Offensive line has nothing to do with it. And then after the Super Bowl, people kept making this asinine comparison between Patrick Mahomes and Bo. And see, look, any quarterback looks bad when their offensive line doesn't block. And I'm like, did we watch the same game? I just watched Patrick Mahomes hit dudes right in the forehead with the football under the most duress I've ever seen any quarterback.
In a headlock with a knife in his back.
Right.
And his arm in a sling, and still hit the dude on the forehead.
To be clear, he still looks good under pressure.
Yes.
With no cleats.
Unreal pressure. I haven't seen pressure like that probably since Cam was getting hounded by Von Miller in 2015. It was unreal.
It did look like that Super Bowl. Yeah.
And Cam didn't look that good because he's not Patrick Mahomes.
Right. And so that actually is a better comparison because Cam Newton has fundamental throwing issues that he reverts to when he's under pressure. So Cam Newton in that Super Bowl against the Broncos and Bo Nix last year in the Georgia game, right? Like you can compare those two things because they look eerily similar. I look that people have that side by side of Patrick Mahomes throwing, laying sideways, and then Bo Nix throwing laying side. Look at the end of where that play resulted.
Well, yeah, right.
Where did the football go?
Right, because Patrick Mahomes almost threw a touchdown. Had the dude caught that'd have been a touchdown.
Right.
That was not the end of the play with Bo was not close to a touchdown. So
but
again, it's similar, but it's not a good comparison.
If you watch Patrick Mahomes play, right, you'll know he does some amazing things when he has to, but he doesn't throw off his back foot just because.
Right.
Right.
When you watch him play, if he's doing that, there's a necessity to do that to deliver the football.
Right.
And so we're at the halfway point here. So I just want to go ahead and plug next week's Chop It Up with a Pro. If you're an insider member, we're doing our second Chop It Up with a Pro with King Dunlap. In this session, Isaac, who is our resident player, breaker, downer person, will be breaking down plays.
That's a word.
Yeah,
That's the official title.
Right.
Yeah, peer breaker, downer person.
Yeah, he's going to be breaking down plays, and we're going to go through the tape with you guys so you can see with your own eyeballs what we're talking about. I just don't think a lot of the people who are saying the offensive line is going to fix all his issues, I don't think they've watched the tape. And if they have watched the tape, they don't understand what they're looking at. We had a guy in our comment section while I went out to the woods with my girl for Valentine's Day, and there was no internet out there. So every once in a while, a message would pop in from YouTube. So-and-so left a comment, and this dude was in here talking about how, again, stating stats for some reason is hating on Bo Nix. Right.
Yeah. I listen. I hate people saying that we're hating on any player. I don't bring anything but a factual argument. Like that's not hate, bro. Like that's just it is what it is. Is today Wednesday? That's a factual thing, right? Am I hating on the week to say it's the middle of the week? Yeah. Man, you hating, bro. What you mean? It's just it's just. I mean, we on the second half of the week practically. It's Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. I don't know what else to tell you.
Right. Okay. So here's what y'all
got to peep my name change here in a second too.
Again. No, Chris Todd agreed that there are things that need to be fixed that don't have anything to do with the O-line, so that we're clear. Right. He agreed on that. Right. What we agreed, where we part ways were like, hey, is this fixable? He seems to think it's fixable. I don't necessarily disagree with him.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's based on what Chris told us, that is a much taller hill to climb.
Yeah.
Than the one Jason Campbell had to climb. Unlearning a lifetime of how you've been setting your feet is not easy to do.
And so here's the thing. I got this clarified too. Again, the only reason we talk about Bo is because he's the quarterback.
He's a quarterback.
He touches the ball every offensive play unless they go to some sort of wildcat thing, right? Number one. Number two, how many other players have we seen 2 years of tape on to be able to talk about that are coming back to play this season? There aren't very many. So it's going to be unbalanced until I get some more tape on some other guys that I can talk about. That's just the unfortunate reality of being the guy who is going to be the focal point of the offense and being the most tenured starter. That's not hate. That's just real.
And the guy who's responsible for his lack of development, we've addressed him already. He's gone.
Right. Yeah, he's gone.
So now that leaves us with Bo. Are you going to get better?
Right. Yeah.
And that's yet to be seen. That's question. Go ahead, B.
Yep.
My bad.
And that gets us back to what we've learned again, which is what we want from the channel, what we want for you as the fans is education. I've learned so much about the technical aspects of playing O-line from listening to our interviews. I've learned about playing quarterback from listening to our player interviews. I've learned about what was going on behind the scenes of the program from our show with JG Tate, somebody who knows this program better than almost anybody. Right. Putting all that together, it really made me, and I think all of us go, dang, Bo has issues, but that's not whose responsibility it was to make sure that he was at his best. There was a guy who had
plenty of flack to that guy. If you watched us last season during the season, we gave plenty of flack.
The last two seasons,
I was screaming, "Cut the check!" before they finally cut the check.
Yes.
Like,
so
guys,
that's what I'm saying. If you watched us, "Cut the check" was a hashtag that we had during the season. We didn't say "bench Bo" was the hashtag. We said "cut the check."
Right. Okay. So the last thing I'll say on this before I don't say his name again I can't. But
come on,
like,
man.
Come on, man.
But it's a topic later, so it's gonna come up. But like the idea that some people think now that Gus is at UCF that Bo is going to flee to UCF, I think that is one of the worst ideas ever. I honestly do. I think that he needs to stay, and I hope that Harsin can fix it. I really do. You know what? I'm going to say it again just in case anybody's watching this on replay. I hope Harsin can fix it.
Right.
I really do. You know, I think
because he's talented. Like, dude, right. Again, it's so frustrating because Bo has so much. Like, I sat there and I've seen him throw some of the best ball. I'd like. Again, I talk about this all the time. The pass in the Iron Bowl his freshman year to Sal Cannella was one of the best throws I have ever seen a quarterback make.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The pass he made to Seth Williams in that game, Seth made a remarkable catch because he was being held, but Bo couldn't have put that ball any better. I've seen him make amazing throws when he sets his feet and rips it. I just need to see him do that consistently. That was the hashtag. Cut the check. Appreciate you, though.
Absolutely.
Listen, it's a perfect time to do that. Listen, we off that, man. We got other stuff we got to talk about.
Wait till we criticize Bo after he improves. If we still criticizing him and he's improved, then we're hating. But until then, we're just going to call it how we see it. That's what hating is. So let's move on. We got some other things to talk about. Recruiting news.
Yeah.
All right. It's been word on the curve is Auburn's been talking with the transfer QB from Oregon, Tyler Show.
This is why I said I couldn't move
away. When I looked up his name on the internet, it said it was pronounced Shuck, and I was like, "Is that what that is?" I don't know, but anyway,
I've heard people call him Show. I heard people call him Show, so I'm gonna go with Tyler Show. But yeah, he was like 64% completion percentage last year through 13 touchdowns, 6 interceptions through 7. I think they played 7 games.
Yeah.
QB rating of 160. So, guys, I mean, and again, now here's what I did. I went perusing through message boards for Oregon Ducks, and I wanted to see were they panicking or were they like, yeah, he can go, right? And I didn't see a lot of panic. He got benched for, I can't think of the kid's name. I think it's Brown is his name in the bowl game.
Yeah, the Fiesta Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah. And I believe either he or the fan base had their eyes on another guy who was going to take his place. And apparently Tyler Show saw the writing on the wall in the bowl game. I think that he's a pro style quarterback. He could fit in this offense. He doesn't have a lot of the bad habits that Bo has. But one of the things that the fan base talked about is they didn't think he was a fit for what they was trying to do up at Oregon. And he had a sense when mentally he would be out of it at times. Like he would get down and he would just be it would be tough for him to kind of bounce back, I guess, from mistakes and whatnot. So those were some of the things that I was hearing from the fan base. But a lot of people were saying that he does have an opportunity to be successful wherever he goes, depending on, given the right coaching. So what do you guys' thoughts on this?
Honestly, he's Bo Nix, right? Like his stats scream Bo Nix. He is average in his completion percentage. It's clear that he has not been developed into whatever system that he's going to be playing. But what I find interesting is that they're even courting another quarterback to come in, as many quarterbacks as we have on the roster right now. To me, that says that they are trying to bring somebody else in to compete. And so that either means that I haven't evaluated anybody. Everybody's getting a fresh start. And I liked what I saw from this dude because I was up in the upper West and could see him play more consistently. So I want to bring him down here and compete. Or I'm not sold on any of the guys that I have on my roster, which to me means as well, somebody's going to be transferring soon. Like one of these guys is not going to make it because why would I stay? He's got 3 years of eligibility left. So if he comes in and he wins the job, he could be here for the next 3 years.
Right.
So I don't know. I just think that it's telling to me that they are still looking for people to compete for that position.
Yeah, I would say that even though by the numbers he's kind of equal to Bo. In one category, he is significantly better than Bo, and that's when under no pressure he completes 70.7% of his passes, which is markedly better than Bo. He is also much better when being blitzed, about 8 percentage points better than Bo when being blitzed, and they're about the same when under pressure. So if you can, when you do protect him, he'll burn you. I mean, that's what the advanced statistics say on this kid.
But the
right?
thing that I don't think he has is Bo's athleticism. Like he just Bo
right.
is
he's a pocket QB for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And so my thing about it is, if we're comparing him to Bo, is that the question is, are Bo's fundamental things fixable? Because if they are, he's clearly the better quarterback. I don't even think it's a competition because, again, I've seen Bo at his best be amazing. I've never seen this other kid play, so it's not really fair to me to say he can't be amazing. I've seen Bo be amazing. He's done amazing things on the football field before. For
sure.
He's done come on, you can't tell me that play against Texas A&M wasn't amazing. You can't tell me what he did in the Alabama game, avoiding like 3 guys. He didn't pick up but 6 yards, but it should have been a 10-yard sack. Wasn't amazing. You can't tell me those throws that I just outlined for you were not amazing throws. I've seen Bo Nix be amazing, not just good, but wow, that was amazing on the football field. That's a fact. Like, if we're talking facts, that's a factual statement. Now, you cannot debate that.
He's waiting on you to finish.
That's fine, but I'm saying, like, whatever you want to say, you can't debate the fact that those were amazing plays.
If I put all Bo's amazing plays together, that's like one full game of a perfect game.
That's fine, but again, that's my frustration with him, though. I didn't say Bo was an amazing player. I said Bo. I've seen Bo be amazing.
I'm just saying they are there. I'm saying that to preempt whatever Mike is going to say to counteract.
I mean, there's nothing like say we can talk about whatever the factual points are, but again, you can't debate a factual statement. I made a factual statement just now.
Oh man,
Mike, something on your mind, player?
Nothing Bo has done. Everything Bo's done is replaceable. That's all I'm saying. Everything.
I disagree with that 100%.
Everything he's done.
Everything he's done. That's kind of harsh.
Everything he's done is replaceable because
I disagree with that.
Because of the inconsistency. I'd rather take a consistent quarterback who does an argument.
I agree. You're making the exact same argument I just did. You said everything he's done. You're talking about the sum total of his work is replaceable.
You said
that's a different statement.
That can come in and do the things that Bo's. We watching them all over the conference.
No,
we're watching them all over the conference.
Yeah.
He's named almost every single meaningful statistic. It's all
who in our conference at quarterback could make that Texas A&M play that he did this year. Name one quarterback in our conference that does that. One. I challenge you to name a single SEC
they don't
quarterback.
have to because they can throw.
That's not the question I asked you. Whether they had to, I said, can they? Are they even capable? Whether they have to or not?
They don't need to.
That's not the question, Mike Gittins. The question is, can they do it?
Trading one thing for another.
Can you change the tire on your car, Mike?
And you throw the ball. That's all.
Can you change the tire on a car, Mike?
We don't need it. We don't need it.
Can you change the tire on a car, Mike?
It's replaced.
B, how you doing, man?
It doesn't have to be apples for apples,
great, bro.
But I'm saying
apples for apples.
How's a wife?
Give me a kid who can do all these other things.
What about apples for apples has to do? You're not comparing apples to apples. I said there was a play where he didn't.
That's my point.
If we're gonna have a conversation,
you're making a non-point. Doesn't matter. Everything he's done.
How is it a non-point? You're not even making sense right now.
Hey B, I had eggs this morning.
How does it not matter?
Bo had an amazing play. There are other quarterbacks who can have the same kind of amazing plays in other ways. We don't necessarily need that.
I didn't say that. You're arguing something I'm not even saying. That doesn't make any sense for you to argue something I'm not saying.
All right, gentlemen.
What he's doing is replaceable.
All right, gentlemen.
I don't know what to say, man. Listen, we get a lot of guys to come in and do what Bo Nix has done.
Y'all have inspired me, man.
Period.
I gotta make some fighting music. I gotta make some music that is intense. So
it's the war room, man. We supposed to be talking like this, man. But that doesn't make you sounded like a hater right there, Mike. I ain't gonna lie. You sounded like a hater right there. I ain't gonna lie.
He's a good one. He's good at it though. That's why I like Mike. He's a good hater. He was hating on Aaron Rodgers on that Super Bowl Sunday show. I ain't forgot about that. He had no answer for my what I said. I said Green Bay is terrible without Aaron Rodgers, and Brady and Breeze's teams be good without them. So what you got to say? He's like, well, I like rings. That ain't the question. You're a hater.
I hate some Aaron Rodgers. I do hate Aaron Rodgers.
You're a hater.
He's good.
Exactly.
I acknowledge his greatness. I'm just saying.
Listen, if Tyler
I think
Shuck
it's
comes
the
to
best of all
Auburn, that means more competition, which is
For
really
sure.
one of the things I said will be a success. Bo's getting pushed. We got better competition. Hey, listen, I'm all for it. Bring it on. I want to see the play at quarterback position elevated. Let's talk about Tennessee.
Man,
Cody Brown released from his
He ain't coming to Auburn. He ain't coming to Auburn.
in
yeah,
LI.
but like, why not release the one dude that we actually to have a good shot at getting, man?
I'm waiting on we need to start a countdown for Dylan Brooks because
Yeah, where are the free Dylan Brooks tweets going on?
that's what
out
we
there?
need. Hashtag free Dylan Brooks. That's what we need to start.
We did it for Sharif. We need to get on that about.
They have to
Sharif.
let him go. They have to release him. I think
Start the
per the NCAA rules,
hashtag
they have to
free
release him.
Dylan.
Yeah,
free
they don't have
Dylan.
a choice. They have to release him.
So you don't think Cody Brown's coming to Auburn?
He's not coming to Auburn.
I don't think it's a high probability.
I don't think. The coaching
I don't
staff
think they're
wasn't
chasing
even
him.
considering him.
No,
Yeah.
they're not chasing.
Yo, Uzi, I promise, bro.
The McDonald's volunteers. That's
Ronald
good.
McDonald House charity. Yeah.
I think maybe what was going
man.
on there was they were waiting to fill the whole staff out and say, all right, man, look, here's who your new coach is going to be. Here's what the defense is going to be. Come on, give us a chance. Stick around. And they're probably trying that right now just for the kid to go, no, I'll see you later.
You know what?
I'm so happy that y'all listen to the
I'm
stuff that we
saying,
say.
man.
You know what?
I'm really happy that you guys actually listen
Yo.
to these interviews. Yeah.
Y'all, if y'all don't watch the
on
other stuff, you
one.
don't even get all these inside jokes, bro. Like,
Y'all
it's
are
crazy.
On one.
Bob Edwards says that Demetrius Davis looks like Breeze. He's from a height standpoint, yeah, certainly, right? Like, I mean, he's going to have some things to overcome. That was the big knock on Breeze was they didn't think he'd be tall enough, literally, to see over the offensive lineman and complete passes. And statistically, he's the best quarterback ever, right? So, like,
Right.
I would say Davis is going to have a chance, but. These transfers from Tennessee, man, we need some guys to come in and just put around these other guys, right? I'd like to see Derek Mason get one great guy on defense in this class. I think that Brooks could be that guy, and from what I'm saying, we talked to Brad, and I can tell you this. Everything that I've seen says as soon as he gets that release, he's in the books. And, we did a facts and all where we asked if this recruiting class was a success. I said, no. No, I don't think you can call the lowest rating recruiting class we've had in 12 or 15 years a success. But if you get Brooks, this is a success. I think this is a success.
I thought it was a success because I think we have enough. And considering where we were before we started, it was rough. And you know what? That may have been what ended Gus's tenure here. It was number one, him saying, "Oh, we'll get him next year," after we lost some game we shouldn't have lost. And then it was him not having a strong enough class to say, "You can't get rid of me because look what I got coming in."
Right.
He didn't even have that shot in the tank anymore. Like they knew that
he tried to play that card super early in the season too. Like he was like, man, he's trying to sell up like what he felt like. Man, I was like, this dude. Man, we gotta talk about him because we got a whole other topic about him.
Playboy D says that Harsin likes Davis. Was that a quote or? Like,
I was about to say where you getting
doubt
that
it's
from?
a quote. I doubt it's a quote.
Was that something you read? I would like to know if that is based on something verifiable.
Mr. Steele, your coaching job. Oh my god.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Losing teams should never.
Oh man, y'all are wild, man.
Yeah,
that is good.
Listen, Harsin. I think for Harsin on the recruiting end with all this stuff, having the option of having the Oregon kid come in and then Dylan Brooks and some of the other options that he was going to have definitely gives him a lot more flexibility this year. And it tells me that if he can actually coach them up, they can be They can win immediately. Now, I have waffled on this.
Where are y'all hearing this stuff? Like, where are y'all hearing this stuff? Like, you heard Harsin likes him. You heard he's not act. Like, where is this?
Who said that? Stephen Riley. Stephen Riley. I don't know where you get it up from. That's none of his statistics say that. His highlight tape is one of the best I've ever seen. He is deadly accurate and almost under pressure, on the run, on the move. He is plus 70% in all those categories. He's good, right? So now whether the speed of the game will allow him to remain that accurate is left to be seen, right? Because he's a freshman. So, but he's mechanically, he's as sound as I've seen for a dual threat in quite some time. Yeah. So for Harsin, I was saying for Harsin, I've waffled on whether or not he could win immediately based on how recruiting kind of fell apart, looked like it fell apart for a second. And now I'm back to my original stance. I think that this does not have to be a throwaway year for him. I think that there's enough left in the bag that if he can coach him up, he can win this year. I still expect an 8-win season, but I'm leaning a little bit more towards B, that 9-3 is real possible.
It's possible. It's possible.
I called it in January.
Yeah, if he can do the right, if he can get what he needs to get out of this spring, and they have a great summer in the weight room, and they are able to install, like we mentioned earlier, I think 9-3 is definitely a possibility.
Yo, isn't it crazy that Kevin Steele got left at the altar twice already this season? Like, he was the interim head coach here, then he was interim at Tennessee, and nobody wanted him to be there.
They're paying him $900,000 to pick up coffee. Like, that's
a good job. I ain't
mad at him.
I ain't mad at it for that, man. But yeah, we'll just see. We'll just see again. This class ain't, as Harsin said, they're not done, so they could still move up recruiting wise, and the class, after all said and done, could actually be looking kind of all right. So we'll just see what happens. We'll again hashtag free Dylan, and it's DYLAN. All right, Dylan.
Yeah,
free Dylan Brooks.
That's spit hot fire.
Spit out fire. So, all right, guys, let's get to it. Everyone's been talking about it. The Gus Bus then got some new used tires and then rolled down to Orlando, and Gus is at UCF. Thoughts, gentlemen?
Yeah. Whatever.
It's the perfect job for Gus.
No expectations.
No, that's not true.
No, I don't know about that.
Expect to win. Wait.
I don't know about that.
AD said that he asked the players what they would like in the head coach to be considerate of what the players want. He said a high-powered offense, somebody who competes for championships, and a high-character guy.
Okay.
So
1 for 3 ain't bad.
1 for 3 ain't bad.
1 for 3 is bad.
So where does that equate to high expectations for Gus?
Compete for championships or compete at for championships?
UCF is okay. Can we agree on? Let's find some common ground on this. Is UCF the best Group of 5 school?
No.
Football program.
No.
What's the best Group of 5 football
over what time period?
Yeah.
As in,
no, they're not.
Let's say 4 years. Up to
I would say yes.
I would say yes if you add in previous years.
Yeah.
Since he's making a strong push, though.
They've been on a steady decline since the year they beat us. Now, part of that was because they lost their starting quarterback, but they've been on a steady decline since then.
And
they lost their coach. Yeah.
And Frost.
Right. They lost their coach. They lost their starting quarterback. Since then, that program has been on a decline. So this is the perfect time to pick up Gus and maybe do something right.
I feel like he can have some success there.
I agree. I'm talking about expectations for where the program is going to be nationally.
Right.
They might win that conference.
So I'm talking about what does what does UCF expect of their program
to win the conference? But I'm saying you're comparing winning the Sun Belt to winning the SEC as far as expectations.
AAC. They're
AAC. I don't give a shit. I don't care where it is.
Man,
it ain't the SEC.
Monetization.
I ain't say it. It ain't the SEC. If you win that conference, do you have a shot at a true national championship, not the fake one that they got for going undefeated?
Yeah, I don't think that's the expectation on
No,
Gus.
that's not the expectation. What I think
is that the expectation to be a coach is that expectation we have as fans or should have for our coach at Auburn?
He's not our coach.
Yes or no?
We're talking about.
I'm
UCF
asking
today.
about expectations for the coach though.
For
winning the
him
SEC
to do what?
We're talking about expectations for
We're specifically talking about expectations.
Follow my logic. Follow my logic.
Okay.
I'm saying the expectations for what Gus could possibly do at UCF are lower than what he could possibly do at Auburn because this is a higher caliber program.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that.
That's my whole point.
Yeah.
I'm scaling it. I'm not.
Okay,
I'm
on
not
a scale, then maybe. Yeah, I'm not putting it on a scale.
So UCF, I'm just like any group of 5 school, I think what their expectations are is we've got to win our 1 or 2 games against Power 5 conferences that we have. And then we need to go undefeated in our conference, win our conference championship games, and hope and pray somebody puts us in an at-large bid.
Yeah, he said that. He said that on a Feinbaum show today, right? He said that they have to get a top 10 team on the schedule. They have to win that game, and they got to win all the other ones, right?
Good
So,
luck.
like, I mean, here's the thing with but we know Gus is good to pull an upset on a team that he got.
That's why I think it's a good spot for him because the expectations aren't as high.
Yeah, so
if he beats them, great. If he doesn't,
listen, I will trade Bama. I'll trade Bama and Georgia for South Florida and Cincy any day if I'm Gus. Like you got to beat those 2 teams,
and so that's the difference between UCF for Gus and Auburn for Gus is that Auburn is the at best 4th biggest fish in the pond, maybe 5th now that Texas A&M is coming back to the block. UCF is the first, probably the biggest fish in the AAC.
I'll agree with that. As far as expectations for him in that conference, it's probably higher. So I'll agree. If we're putting it on that scale, his standard for slippage is a lot less there because he is the big boy on that block.
He's been at the big program.
Absolutely.
He's beaten Nick Saban, which he has beaten Nick Saban.
Eight wins a year won't get it at UCF.
You can't because now he doesn't have any excuses. There's nobody in his conference out recruiting him. Right. There is nowhere he can go after Florida snatched up everybody and Miami snatched up everybody. Then he can go, all right, I should get the best pick of whatever's left. And I should still get the guys before Temple gets them, before Memphis gets them, before anybody else in their conference gets them. So now he doesn't have the very real, even though it's still kind of an excuse. Why are you not getting an offensive line that can compete in your conference? That's not a problem anymore. It shouldn't be a problem anymore.
Right.
So you should be able to beat those teams.
Well, also, if he finds a halfway decent quarterback in their conference, that quarterback can run around with bad fundamentals and they can still win games.
Exactly. Because
the athletes aren't going to be the same caliber.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So you're going to have 1 or 2, but it's not going to be a squad full of them.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So
the competition around him is going to be much.
I think he's going to do well. So listen, I think Gus will do well in that conference. I think he is going to be back up as being back into the place where they're going to regard him as one of the better offensive minds or head coaches in the nation because his record is going to be decent. But my point is that even if he goes undefeated there, then what? Like, what does it mean in the grand scheme of things?
Nothing.
Like, it's not going to mean anything. So going undefeated there is different than going undefeated.
Undefeated there would have to be beating a 1-loss Florida team that 1 loss was the only reason they didn't go to the SEC championship. Like he would have to beat a very, very good team for it to be meaningful. I don't think he does it because he wants to get.
It's not meaningful to us, man. What I'm saying is for the UCF fan base, it is meaningful for them.
Oh, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, for their fan base, it's meaningful. So, like, I'm remiss if I don't say this. I'm happy for Gus, and I hope that he's happy there.
Yeah,
truly.
I hope he's happy enough to send us some money back. He'd be like, no,
hold on. You hope he's happy? He's getting paid not to coach at Auburn and paid to coach
I hope
at
he's
UCF.
happy enough to send us some money back.
He's not. He's not that happy.
I don't think he was happy at Auburn, right? I don't think he was happy having to deal with all the stuff that he had to deal with here, right?
Let's be real. That's the point. Is that it's difficult to be a happy head coach when you have somebody over your shoulder trying. Because we talked about this. I think it might have just been Mike and I talking about this over the phone. What's clear is Gus. He made it very clear he was going to be the guy calling plays in UCF, right? he missed calling plays. The last couple of years, he was trying to sell us on this idea that he was okay being the CEO and letting somebody else do X. He hated it. He absolutely hated it, but he was being forced to do that because people wanted to see our offense produce something different on the field than what it had been doing. And so they forced him to go hire a more high-profile offensive coordinator. They're like, all right, we'll pay for a better guy. We'll bring him in. We want you to run the program like this, right? Gus hated it. And it showed in his demeanor in press. Like, his energy was just not there. And that and for whatever it's worth, it showed in the play on the field. He was detached from the thing he loved the most, which was calling plays.
Right.
And his energy was different, right? And so I just don't know how a program's going to be successful when your head coach doesn't even really enjoy the job he's got.
Right. So again, I hope that Gus finds happiness at UCF without all the stress of having to coach at a place like Auburn, right? But what I hope most of all is that the kids that play for him get a chance to actually develop and get a chance to go to the next level, right? Like, I think that, I hope that he is not I hope that he's not arrogant enough to think that he didn't have some growth to make as a coach, right? And what I hope also is I hope that if for some reason what a lot of the fans are calling happens and Bo follows him down there, which I think would be a terrible idea. I think that what that signals to me is that Bo thinks that he doesn't have anything to fix, right? Like, because if you're following Gus, I just think that is the wrong thing for him to do. Stay here, man, and tough it out with Harsin for 1 year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And learn something and challenge yourself. Right. And if I will maintain this until I'm blue in the face, despite how hard I am on Bo, if he wins the starting job under Harsin and Bobo, I don't believe it'll just be because he's the 2-year incumbent. I don't. I think it's because he will have proved it on the field in practice.
I agree 100%.
He was the best guy for the job if he wins it.
And we should feel good about him winning. Like, if he wins, we should feel good because he's done what he needed to do to take the next step in his development.
Yeah, but following Gus down to UCF is not the way forward for Bo. Like, I get it if he wants to transfer if he doesn't win the job, because I do believe that he deserves to start somewhere and play under somebody who knows what to do with his talent and knows how to get the most out of him, I guess, right? Knows how to fix this up here so they can do it. Shout out Thomas Sanders for joining, right? Like, but Gus, man, down to UCF, right? Like, I know we got one more topic to cover here on this, right? Like, but I just hope that Gus is actually happy at UCF. He looked happy in his press conference. He did. It was glowing. He looked like he had a weight lifted off his shoulders. Yeah, $21 million will do that for a lot of people. But, like, other than that,
you ain't got to deal with an assistant. Whatever.
Yeah,
and
Travis,
boy, T. Will is down there with him. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to him for finally getting his DC. Yeah. He's been wanting to be a defensive coordinator for a while. And so listen, I have to say this on camera. We constantly heard crap about how Travis Williams was part of this coup attempt to get Gus out of Auburn. Can we please put that rumor to bed now? Please. We tried to tell you guys on the show that there was no merit to that whatsoever. If he was part of that, Gus wouldn't have hired him for his
Explain
staff.
This. Yeah. Explain
that
this.
Those either Gus is just gullible and T. Will was like, nah, that wasn't me. And it really or they really had a good relationship like we had been trying to say. And any of those rumors to the contrary were just silly and fabricated. That had absolutely nothing to do with why T. Will didn't get the job here because he was a part of some coup attempt. It was clearly they just had different stuff going on, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, Travis is an upstanding dude. I wish absolutely nothing but the best for that man. And hopefully this is a catapult to him getting into the place where he wants to be as a coordinator. Right. And if he has aspirations of being a head coach, then hopefully this is the first step in that direction as well. So kudos to him for getting that job, man.
And I expect him to succeed, man, because again, he hits it off with those kids. Those kids play for him. The kids love him. Yeah. I'm happy for him. And to be honest, I wouldn't have it any other way for him because this is just the next step for him in his evolution as a coach. I'm not sure what.
I actually said this would be funny. And hold on, that's the wrong one. I actually said this would be funny if this happened, but yeah.
No.
What do we make? What do we make of Cody getting hired at UCF, going to Tennessee?
That Josh Heupel was impressed by him for some reason, and when he made the transfer, he was like, "Hey, come on up here with me." Because Heupel must have been part of the reason why he got to UCF in the first place. And then when he dipped, he was like, "All right, come on over here."
He was.
So maybe we'll get to see now how much of what we didn't see happening with the wide receivers was still on Gus Malzahn.
Yeah,
like that's. I'm interested to see not just.
Well, so that's clear though. Like I just think
it was on Gus. It was on Gus.
The route tree is evident of that. Like I think Gus wants receivers who can be open when the play allows you to be open and block. Outside of that, those receivers aren't going to be taught how to do releases off the line. They're not going to be taught how to stem routes at the top of it. They're not going to be taught how to, use leverage and under. Like when we were talking, shout out again to Ben. He's going to be our next building rapport segment that's going to be dropping this Monday. You're going to hear Ben talk about how he reads leverage in the defensive backfield in order to know how he's supposed to run it. Devin, excuse me. What did I say? Ben. Oh yeah. You're going to hear Devin talk about that and how he reads the defensive back to know how he's supposed to run the route based upon what the play is called. Do you think wide receivers at Auburn are learning to read the defensive backfield before this pre-snap to know if this is a 10-yard out route, this is how I'm supposed to run that route in order to be open, and the quarterback and you are on the same? No.
Right.
That is not part of Gus Malzahn's offensive strategy at all. Right. Yeah, it's not that complex.
Yeah, that was an incredible interview from a receiver. I mean, it was very technical. Hopefully, our guy, Cornelius Williams, right, is bringing some of that kind of teaching.
Which they say he's a technical guy. They say Cornelius Williams is really a technical technician when it comes to the wide receiver position.
Right. Yeah. I'll be excited to see, a little bit of that with these receivers here coming up. And, we just need a guy who can get them the ball on time. And I think the sky's the limit for this team. Next year, they can really, if they can play, if they can start fast, and we can beat, because we have Georgia early in the season, if I recall again, right? They can start fast.
Sixth game, I think
it's about halfway through the season.
Yeah. I mean, earlier than we normally play them,
for
right?
sure.
And they can start fast, and they can get some wins under their belt. Man, watch out if you let an almost great team get confident. Just be careful.
For sure.
Right,
sure.
You let them pick up steam.
Confidence where they start feeling it, man.
I mean, if you've already bought in, but then you start believing, based on what you're seeing on the field, it's look out for them for sure.
Yeah, so I'm happy for Travis. I hope he succeeds, but I'm not sure that this was the right move for him.
Well, my hope is that if he does well, he can actually get called up to a P5 school. Or you know what I mean? So my thing is I'm looking for him to progress. I'm not looking for him to be at UCF long term.
Yeah. 2 years of lockdown defense and then get out.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
If he can figure out how to reproduce what Kevin Steele was doing at Auburn, which is save the offense's butt when it wasn't producing anything on the field consistently, T. Will is gonna get a big raise coming up.
Yeah, someone's gonna call him up for sure, because everyone's looking for that next coordinator, right? Coming from a UCF. So if he does well, I like his trajectory. So
all right, last question, right?
Do we want to talk about whether or not the Gus's success will put pressure on Harsin? Like, does this make Harsin feel like it's a win now mode? Like, if Gus goes down here and kills it his first year, does the Auburn fan base now grumble and say, see, look, you got rid of Gus too soon, look what he's doing at UCF? Is that a thing?
Nah,
no. Look at their schedule.
Do you think the fan base will agree with you? The people who have been chirping about Gus Malzahn should not have been fired. If he goes down to UCF and loses one game or goes undefeated, and we only win 7 games this season, is Harsin on the hot seat in their eyes? Or some of the boosters who were not
I don't think he's on the hot seat. You probably hear a lot of "we told you so's." Maybe.
Yeah, that's my. I mean,
you
that's
hear
my
a lot
point
of "we told you so's," but I don't think you put him on the hard. Like if Harsin wins 8 games, he's on schedule. Like he's on schedule, and he's going to build off of that, right? Regardless of what Gus does. But if Gus has success, you're going to have some "I told you so's" from people who didn't want Gus going for sure. But who cares?
You're gonna have some "I told you so's" from people who don't know anything about football.
Of course.
I'll say it.
Now, and I don't think that's very
football.
fair. I don't think it's very fair to even compare the two. Somebody said it. Somebody just said it in the comments. That's like the comparison of Bo Nix and Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair to Bo Nix, right? To compare him to one of the greatest quarterbacks that ever throw football. Like it's just not fair to him.
We're playing Bama, LSU, Georgia, and you're
Texas
playing
A&M.
Cincinnati, Louisville. Listen, we are not in the same league, literally. We are worlds apart with our competition. The only way it would be a fair comparison is if they go undefeated and we play them in a bowl game and they win.
And they beat us. Yeah.
My goodness.
That's it.
And
then you got something to gripe about.
Now that might hurt that might hurt a little bit.
Right. If Gus
that might hurt.
Somehow winds up in a bowl game against Harsin.
Wait, hold on. Wait. Bowl game, Gus? We're good. We're good. No, we're good. Don't worry about it. That's not happening. That's not happening. Right. Did someone say bowl game and Gus?
Nah, fam. So no, like peep this though. They play Boise State their first game of the year, right? So he has an opportunity to beat Harsin's old team, and then they run the gambit in their league, and then they play Auburn in the bowl game. Like, what kind of craziness would that be? Who took the Boise State job?
There.
Yeah, I think they promoted from within over there.
Okay, yeah, all right. So maybe somebody who can carry over what Harsin was doing.
Possibly.
Talking about Boise? No, Boise. They hired the defensive coordinator from Oregon, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Because he was one of the guys they were mentioning for us at one point in time.
Avalos.
Does Gus have to win that game
against Boise State?
Yeah.
I think that's going to be one of the more marquee games on the thing that's out of conference. So I think it's logical to say he should win his biggest out of conference game. But it's the first game of the season, right? There's going to be a ton of expectation. Now we talk about expectation.
There's going to be expectations for UCF, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
There's going to be a ton of expectation placed on them if they get embarrassed in that game. Like it's gonna get warm real fast. Like what's going on here? So
yeah, for sure, definitely.
Because that doesn't happen to them, not getting embarrassed. So
either way, I don't think that Harsin. A lot of people have called for patience with Harsin. I'm on that train. Right. Like, listen, man, let's just give this man a chance to prove it. But it doesn't. But you got to look at more than wins and losses in this first season.
Right.
It's not just about wins and losses. Now he can't
again.
If record, right?
If we go 8-4 and we're pushing Georgia and Bama to the limit, like they got to work instead of just cruising over us, and we're playing their second team by the third, fourth quarter, like we did Georgia this past year.
Right.
Like if we're not doing that, then that's improvement because we didn't do that last year.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I want to just see us close the gap on the field with our biggest opponents, man. Yeah. Like if we lose, that's the thing. We make them work.
And that's the thing that again, fans have to be. Wins and losses definitely matter, but like how you win and lose games absolutely matters too.
Absolutely.
And so I just want to see us compete. We just weren't competitive in too many games last year, and then losing games that we weren't supposed to, or the last couple of years. That's disheartening as a fan.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, guys, listen. Let's go ahead and wrap it up, Mike. Let's talk about those memberships, boy.
Oh man, listen, we have memberships. So if you've noticed this little symbol kind of popping up here on some of these commenters, Isaac, if you hit that graphic, we do have memberships. We encourage you to sign up. Insider level, we do a chop it up with the pro segment. Our next one is next Thursday. It's going to be part 2 with King Dunlap. Isaac's going to be on. We're actually going to be breaking down film, showing you guys the film on a lot of the stuff we've been talking about on those lives. So if you want to see that and kind of chime in, please sign up for one of those insider level memberships. We're looking at bringing you guys more of that content here. We do have the merch store is up. If you haven't got your merch, get some. We've been getting pics sent from all you guys that have been buying merch from our merch store. The merch looks great. We appreciate you guys supporting us in that way. And then, of course, we do have the GoFundMe up. So if you just want to throw some cash to support as we continue to expand our content and bring you more interviews, more access, more analysis, more insights, we appreciate any support, any gift is good with us. So we appreciate you guys. Caesar?
And as always, guys, continue to comment. Of course, be on the lookout. We're going to be dropping our Facts and Nah segment. If you're an insider, if you are a supporter of ours, paid subscriber, hey, it's going to be coming sooner than you think. Also, it's out now. Okay, it's out now. Also, everyone else, you'll see it on Friday. Guys, continue to support, continue to comment, and guys, we will see you on our. As always, like and subscribe on YouTube. You can find us on the War Rapport on Twitter, IG, and it's TW Report on TikTok. Let's get out of here. And as always, gentlemen, War Eagle.
War Eagle.
Peace.